to BBB Adventures, everyone.
Welcome back. Hey, we're coming from you today in Valentine, Nebraska.
Day 36
Day
of the Apollo
36.
mission.
Yep, we're on day 36. We're on track to get to Iowa in time for RAGBRAI. But we also wanted to continue to get some videos out about the Apollo mission. For those of you who have watched the first 3 episodes, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Today is a special edition of the Apollo mission. It's a special episode.
And out of order.
And at the end of episode 3, which was the last one we published, we had not quite yet made it to Idaho, but we eventually did, and we got to Boise, and we visited the folks at the
Boise Bicycle Project.
Boise Bicycle Project, and we wanted to get that out and to you now. So that's what today's video is about, is our visit to the Boise Bicycle Project.
We were so impressed, so inspired.
It's amazing.
By the folks at the Boise Bicycle Project. We hope that you are also inspired.
Yeah, please enjoy this.
We just got on the Boise Greenbelt. It's going to take us, I think, all the way to the Boise Bicycle Project.
It's amazing. Boise Bicycle Project, yay!
From a bicycle shop perspective, just like a quick rundown, like every single bike, every single thing that you see in the shop has been donated to us. Bicycles, like people,
Everything.
every single thing. There's a handful of new items that we have, like helmets, socks,
Right,
things like
right.
that.
And you have to buy probably new parts, some
Yeah,
new parts.
some new parts, things like that. As far as bicycle goes, every single bicycle that's been brought here has been donated to us.
That's
and
awesome.
And then it kind of goes to live a few different lives. It can be fixed up, refurbished, sold out on our floor. We have a number of bicycles that we sell under a certain dollar amount, and then some over. And it just like helps make sure that there's bicycles out in our community that are cheap. Lower cost so that people are experiencing financial hardship and have a form of transportation, aren't paying $5 a gallon for gas. And then we also have what we call a project bike. So people who are really interested in like working on their own bike, learning, like growing their education and their knowledge base, can get a project bike and then fix it up for really low cost.
And so the technicians here help.
Yeah, we're actually really quirky. Even though we're a bike shop, we don't offer any paid services, so you can't drop your bicycle off in BBP and say, hey, like I need a tune-up. Like our mechanics will actually take you to a stand and walk you through the process yourself. And so the goal is to empower people to like learn how to kind of take the steps, and then every time you get on your bike, you feel ready and you feel prepared. So like that's a huge thing, and like the more you know, the better you feel. So that's what we're all about. So you can't, no services, you just come in, you get to learn, and no dumb questions exist here. It can be the most basic question, and like the goal is that nobody ever feels like it's a bad question, because everyone has to start to learn.
Right,
And we all did too.
What an awesome philosophy. Yeah, that's really cool.
And so, a quick tour. So our project bikes are out front.
Okay.
All of our bikes that are what we call refurbished and ready to go actually are right here. They all have a green tag on them, and we have bikes that are donated to us that are like incredibly high end. This Specialized.
Yeah, that's a nice bike.
Is incredible. And so for the fact that our community comes out and like donates a bike like this to us is just like, I mean, it blows me away every single day. But we have everything from like really incredible bikes, and like our variety changes and like our inventory changes because it's all based on what gets donated to us. And so anything from like, I mean, like a Specialized like hard rock 90s mountain bike is like literally what we call our bread and butter, because it just like, we get so many of them in and they were so produced, but they'll last a lifetime.
Oh, they're rock solid. Yeah,
They're rock solid.
Yeah.
And so like these bikes, we try to keep a handful of kids bikes out. We donate hundreds and hundreds of kids bikes every single year, but we also understand that like people still want to support us and like purchase a bike, or even may not have the bandwidth to like purchase a bike out in the community. So we do have a handful of kids bikes, and then actually if we go back in through here is our used parts room, which is really fun. So if a frame is compromised or the bike isn't necessarily worth us like refixing the whole thing. We actually like tear it completely apart. We have used wheels. I can't tell you how many people come in with like a tacoed wheel.
Oh, sure.
And you know, we get them a new wheel set, and to be able to get into a wheel set at, you know, like $60, $100 instead of
A fraction of the cost.
a fraction of the cost is huge. Also a really great learning opportunity to like make sure that people can throw a wheel in a trimming stand and like we can check it. And so we have all these resources here, but we have frames. I always joke that we enable our volunteers and like our BBP supporters because members get a free frame every year.
Oh, wow.
And so we love to encourage a good bike project, but it's really fun to like, we empower people to be able to build a bike from scratch, from
How
frame.
fun is that?
It's incredible. I'm
And there's
actually,
some great frames in there. Look, there's a Bianchi.
I know.
That's a nice frame.
If I wasn't so short, I would have so many bikes.
So
And
you basically pick out a frame,
You
and
can
then
pick out a
you go
frame.
through, pick out the components, and
you can build it from scratch.
wow.
And it's such a fun and like cool process to do. And so actually, if you follow me through here, so here's like more parts. The parts just go on and on and on and on. And it's such a like, I think one of my favorite parts is like you can be in here working on a project and need something and walk into the used part room and grab it, and you're looking at spending $5 to $15 on something instead of $55 to hundreds of dollars for like new bike components. And we have a little bit of everything here. And so like it's nice to be able to come in here and like, you know, grab an Allen bolt for your rear rack and like figure it out in 2 seconds instead of having to try to find that tiny part online. It's so hard.
This is the same rack we have in our bikes.
Oh, that's so cool.
We paid $55 for them. $7.
15.
Nice.
It says $7.
Oh, $7.
$7. We paid $55 for ours.
And so, I mean, it's just a fun thing.
That's
and
awesome.
here is our DIY mechanic space. And
What does that mean?
DIY, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And so what we do, again, like I said, we don't offer any services. So if you bring your bicycle in, you can make a member appointment if you're a member, or you can walk in, and if the stand's available, we'll take you back to a stand, and then we'll walk you through how to fix your bike. And so like this gentleman right here, this white Yeti, actually they purchased here from a frame and they're building it up.
Oh, wow.
And so
Who
like,
is this guy right here?
right here. And I can ask him if
It
he'd
looks like
to
he's
say-
building a wheel.
He is building a wheel, which is incredible.
Does he know how to do that?
I guess so. I have no idea.
That's an art.
That's a really tall unicycle.
Our mechanics actually are here all day. They take walk-ins, we take appointments, we keep track of our appointments through, you know, our website and our member board.
But you don't charge.
We, depending if someone has the means to pay $12 an hour, we'll absolutely take
Oh, okay.
the money.
Good.
And if they don't, then we don't.
Okay.
We're never gonna like. Jimmy gives us the authority to do what we call do the right thing cause. And so if you can do the right thing, we do the right thing. And so if someone comes in and they're experiencing any sort of financial hardship, we're going to make sure they're taken care of.
That's
because
awesome.
everyone deserves a bicycle in the form of transportation.
Amen.
Yes.
So cool.
And then upstairs is where our offices are. Not the most formal thing, and we can go up there if you'd like. It's a little chaotic and a little fun all at the same time. All of these signs are actually from a fundraiser that we did. So upstairs is actually an extension of BBP. It didn't used to be here. And so once we purchased the building, Jimmy started doing a fundraiser to get the addition added. And all the signs are from people who donated to help make that happen.
Oh, very cool.
We have a little bit of just a space up here where people can come, hang out. They can wait until there's a stand open, have lunch, so on and so forth. Everything. We always welcome people to come up here. We do what we call work trade. And so if someone doesn't have something and they have the time and ability to, they can actually come and work, help us cut rags, things like that, and then they can earn $15 an hour in stock and store credit
That is awesome.
to fix their bikes. And
Wow.
so sometimes people are up here cutting rags. Sometimes our volunteers come up here for lunch. We have lunch. Our workspace is up here. We just have a bunch of standing desks, and we kind of just smash on in here.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's super
fun.
cool. It's a great environment.
And so we're all in here. Nothing's done without a nice little bike touch to it.
Yeah.
And then we actually offer our conference room space next door out of other local nonprofits. Because not everyone, we're really lucky, we have quite a bit of space here,
Yeah.
which we always find a way to fill up. But the conference room Our local swimmer nonprofit, they use our conference room once a month, and then before the pandemic had hit, that you could pay to use our conference room. And so we've kind of come up with these fun, quirky ways for us to not only raise money, but also support our community.
So awesome.
We have a ton of fun. Hello. So this is our volunteer space. This is kind of where the magic happens. Literally nothing that we do is possible without our volunteers. They are an extremely effective way for us to get bikes fixed out the door into kids, teens, and adults.
So the bikes get donated, and they come in here, and a volunteer who has the skills goes through them, makes sure they're working properly, they're safe, everything.
Yeah.
And then they get donated to a child, potentially.
So we have a
So
sign-up
that's what
system.
this gentleman is doing?
Absolutely.
I don't know who did this bike for, so I guess somebody worked on the volunteer net last night.
Yeah, it was last night.
It was not done to my standards.
Uh-oh.
Well, thanks for the double check. That's how we double check all the bikes.
Gotta check your bottom bracket.
You gotta check that bottom bracket, you gotta check the headset, you gotta check your hubs, you gotta make sure it's safe. So every single bike that gets fixed goes through a double check system by an experienced mechanic, and then anything that got missed in the first one gets readdressed on the second check, which is great. And so we kind of just have a fun system here where we file bikes in that need to get worked on, our volunteers pick them up. We work with, community centers, social workers, other nonprofits and other community partners, and they refer people to us. We get people put on the list, and then as quickly and as efficiently as we possibly can, we try to get that person a bike. Each person that gets a bike, specifically kiddos, get a light, a lock, a helmet, and a bicycle. Nice. And then once a month we do what we call a bash, which is a bicycle and safety hour. And anywhere between 20 to 30 kids get a bike, a light, a lock, a helmet, and then they go through a safety course. And so we teach them how to properly put the helmet, how to get their ear straps on, and then, some of those small details. How are we using our turn signals? How do we communicate with a car? How do we make sure that we're being safe? And so they get a safety lesson, and then we try to do fun things like put stickers on their helmets and things like that make them really want to wear their helmets. And then everywhere we go, as a company standard, if we're doing anything for work, we all wear our helmets. So this is what we call the wheelbase or a warehouse. And so this is kind of where our bikes get donated. You just pull up in the back alleyway, you drop off your bike, and either a volunteer or our warehouse manager, Jeff over there, wave Jeff, hi.
Yeah.
This is
Hi,
the
Jeff.
warehouse manager, and he has the hardest job out of everyone here. So he helps decide which bikes we're going to tear apart, how to sort the bikes, and where to go. Because
It's
our
triage.
goal- it's triage. Basically, our goal here is that, you see there's bikes everywhere, but our goal is to not hold onto bikes or have the bandwidth to hold more bikes. Our goal is to be able to process bikes as quickly as they come in, and so that they can get to the people that need them.
Do you think these come from the Boise community or from further out than that? Where do all these come from?
You'd never know. So people live their lives, and then stuff happens, and I think people form these bonds to your bicycle. Who doesn't love their bicycle, and so you love it and you hold on to it, and then you see Boise Bicycle Project on the news for the holiday kids bike giveaway, or you see us at an event or whatever it may be, and you're like, you know what, I haven't touched my bike in 30 years, and what can I do? And people bring these bikes, and it's I said, it's anywhere from these thousands of these bikes that are worth $1,000 or more to these really, these stump jumpers and these steel framed old 90s mountain bikes will literally last someone a lifetime.
Look at this bike he's working on now.
That's his bike. Don't let him get you wrong.
I was just giving you some eye candy. I saw you
That's a
filming.
beautiful bike. I thought somebody donated
And
that.
so basically
Somebody
every
did
bike
donate it at
on
one
here
time. I
and that you
built it
see
up.
over here has probably been donated
Yeah.
in the last couple of days. And then they either get put into
It's a good bike.
a kids donation pile to get fixed up for kids. They get put into what we call an emergency adult bike. So if someone has no form of transportation, then we get them a bike, no questions asked. And then, or they get sold as is, and so someone can potentially get into a bike for $50 and get back out on the road for really inexpensive. And our goal is to create an inclusive environment where, again, anyone and everyone's welcome. And we always say all bikes belong.
All bikes belong.
Everybody's welcome, and all bikes belong. And so we just have a ton of fun. And we end up with these crazy bikes that just we almost don't know what to do with. We get them. We
This
call
is
them
a sidecar.
Sidecar. We call them burner bikes, which are bikes that come from Burning Man, like these like really silly bikes.
Oh, yes.
But we also host what we call the Boise Goat Head Festival every year, which is what we call a pedal powered, wonderfully weird, bona fide Boise bicycle parade and festival. And we incorporated in a very specific kind of like Western idea, the goat head weed. And so we actually pick goat head weeds up like in the months leading up to the festival, and then like celebrate at the end. So like all of the little pieces of art strewn through are actually from the Boise Goat Head Festival. We work with local artists. They create art. We have a 5,000 plus person pedal powered parade. We have a stage that we power with, pedal power.
Oh my gosh.
Those bikes up there are actually generator bikes. They generate power. We power DJ sets and things like that.
Wow.
And so we just not only do we like to do really a lot of good in our community, but we like to have a good time.
Nice.
In the 15 years of Boise Bicycle Project, we're almost on our 10,000th bike. It just warms your heart.
That is a big number.
It's a huge number. Here we are 15 years later, and we have these 2 really wonderful spaces, and we have almost 20 people on staff, and we're just so incredibly lucky. And not only that, but we have volunteers in our space 5 days a week, helping with donation processing, helping build bikes, helping even just cut rags, bake goodies for Kids Fix It night. And so our goal here is to empower people with knowledge, to put tools in people's hands, and really bring the joy of bicycles to everyone, because there's not many people out there that don't love a bicycle.
Yeah, this space has been a huge game changer for us. It's hard to imagine that warehouse where our volunteers are working at now.
Housed all of this?
Yeah.
Not all of it,
but I mean, we were always having to adjust and use shipping containers or be in another building in the neighborhood and stuff like that. This is just unbelievable. There's a lot of people who, they may not be able to write a $2,000 check to us, but they might be able to donate a $2,000 bicycle. And if we're able to take that bicycle, fix it up, get it to somebody who wants it or needs it, and then use those funds to fund the bikes that we're able to donate, then that's the ability to give that somebody might not be able to do otherwise. So the amount of support that we get might not have the most donors in the entire world financially, but when you look at the bikes and the value that those have, it's pretty incredible. I think the biggest thing for us is just getting things fixed up fast enough. So we're able to fill the need in the community for smaller kids' bikes. So any kids that are probably 8 or under, if they want a bicycle, they're going to get one, within a month period of time. We can fix about 3 bikes, 3 little kids' bikes in the time that it takes us to fix an adult one. And so as our volunteers begin to work more and more with that space over there, and as we train other volunteers in more advanced bicycle skills, hopefully we'll be able to keep up with the need for sort of that teenage area, because they tend to be harder on their bikes. The bikes tend to be more complicated to fix. And unfortunately, a lot of those teenage, 24-inch bikes aren't the highest quality of bikes in the world, so they're not always designed to be serviced. So they tend to be in pretty rough shape. But our volunteers are incredible. The amount of bikes that they fix and the amount that our staff's able to get out there, it's pretty cool. About 1,000 bikes a year at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what motivated you then? What was the... You're just sitting around one day and say, hey, I'm going to start.
I mean, I grew up here in Boise and I rode my bike around ever since I was a little kid. So like everybody else, that bicycle sort of that ticket to freedom and opportunity. And I remember that experience as a kid. And then I started working in bike shops when I was a teenager, and then really began to see that this sort of universal language of riding a bicycle wasn't available to certain parts of our community. So a lot of our lower income families, there were kids who couldn't afford a bike, or for a lot of adults who didn't have access to other bicycles or other forms of transportation. Their bicycle was maybe their only form. They're probably the people who couldn't afford a quality one, and they were coming into the bike shops that I was working at, and they couldn't afford to get it fixed. And so another co-founder, Brian Anderson, we were both fighting fires together, and I was kind of telling him about my experience working in a bike shop. His was pretty similar. We're like, well, what if we could create a place where everyone, regardless of income, had access to a bicycle repair, and bicycle education? And so that really sort of started out as the goal of there's a huge need in the community, especially for some of our folks who they don't choose to ride, they have no other transportation options. A huge gap in making sure that they have that access. Safely, yeah. And then a whole bunch of other people in the community who wanted to learn how to work on their bike, who had a bicycle sitting around in their garage that they weren't using, and who could help other folks. So we started small, got 67 kids bikes and started working on them. And as soon as we started, people just came out of the woodwork. They wanted to help work on bikes. They wanted to learn how to work on bikes. They had bikes sitting around in their garage. And so it really just kind of took off from there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a great story.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. We really started out like any other small business, like in a garage in our backyards, working out of tiny toolboxes with whatever we had and kind of reusing every single part on the bike. And now we've got the space next door. We've got a new warehouse here. We hope to be able to purchase the building. And so it's kind of cool to think back about how little resources we had when we started, how many resources we have now, and how lucky we are. Not a lot of communities, I think, have the ability to support an organization the same way we do here in Boise.
Yeah, it's impressive. It gives me chills.
Yeah, it's cool.
Wow, that is an impressive organization. And Jimmy and Mindy and the entire crew down there, wow, are they doing some awesome things.
It's so fantastic.
Yeah, hopefully you were as inspired as we are. We're so happy to be able to help these folks, but we can only help them with your support. So please, if you haven't done so, consider donating for the Apollo mission to the Boise Bicycle Project. There's a link in the description about how to get to our donation page. We're again trying to raise $3,400, which is $1 for every mile we've been pedaling on the Apollo mission. For those of you who've donated, awesome. Thank you
so much.
For those of you who haven't, please do consider donating
if you can.
Yep. And if you've got friends that really like to support organizations like this that are doing great things for the cycling community, for the community at large, for people in need, giving away bikes to kids, please let them know. And we would appreciate their donation as well. But anyway, thanks for watching. Tomorrow, we're back on the bikes, heading towards Iowa. Tomorrow will be day 37. We've gone more than 1,500 miles and climbed more than 50,000 feet so far. More episodes are coming. We're going to keep releasing those when we have time to edit them.
In the meantime, check out our Instagram. Buses, Bikes, Beers.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for watching.
Have a great day.
Wear a helmet.
Enjoy the ride.